Oh man, oh man, oh man. I guess this was kind of inevitable, but I guess RFK Jr. is now I don't know, implicitly, explicitly. I'm gonna say explicitly fucking responsible for a man who decided to fire hundreds of rounds at the CDC HQ, being mad at COVID vaccines. Authorities say. Again, this is the inevitable sort of byproduct on if you decide to spread such a ridiculous amount of like stupid fucking bumblefuck misinformation and nonsense about COVID vaccines and vaccines in general. Because, quick reminder, RFK Jr. has a vested interest as a former head of a child anti vaccine advocacy group, but still was a part of a fucking anti vaccine board and has written multiple books talking about the dangers of fucking vaccination because he's a fucking conspiratorial crank. So, well, whoa, crazy. The clear byproducts of his fucking actions are bearing fruit. Who would have thought? But yeah, he was angry at fucking COVID vaccines. Bro is literally saying the reason he got depressed was because of fucking COVID jabs. It's the stupidest fucking shit on the planet. But what? A man who fired hundreds of rounds of ammunition at the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention headquarters last week had expressed distrust of the COVID 19 vaccine, investigators say. Police officer David Rose, 33, who graduated from the police academy in March, died in hospital after he was wounded. I believe that's the only fucking casualty who suffered from a fucking shooting. Again, we're gonna get to some of the reactions from like CDC workers specifically, but guess what? This again, byproduct of well, crazy. The fact that a lot of like conspiratorial nonsense and bullshit gets constantly pushed out there by these fucking complete utter morons and terrorists, right? Eventually there's going to be people out there who are lumpen prole. Let's just say fucking dipshit lumpen prole who may fucking fall for the conspiratorial vacuum and nonsense and may commit a particular violent and fucking heinous act as a result. No civilians were injured in the August 8th shooting in Atlanta, Georgia. Authorities say he was shot by Patrick Joseph White, who died from a self inflicted gunshot wound, so he killed himself. The CDC tracks illnesses outbreaks in the U.S. and touted vaccines during the pandemic, a position that has been heavily criticized by vaccine skeptics, which is really, really funny because the main guy who decided to go ahead with Operation Warp Speed was Donald Trump, who is their supposed fucking savior, who's going to, I don't know, go after the elite cabal of pedophiles and shit like that, who are going to be the main guys who are just like, yeah, they're going to stop the adrenochrome harvesting. And, you know, the guy who did the fucking giant ass fucking vaccine research private public partnership bullshit and is the reason why the COVID vaccine came out as fast as it fucking did. You know, great, fantastic. Speaking to reporters on Tuesday, Georgia Bureau of Investigations Director Chris Hosey said 500 shell casings were removed or recovered from the scene, while it's believed 200 rounds hit 6 buildings in the CDC complex. 5 firearms were also recovered, he said. The gunman had also verbalized thoughts of suicide before the shooting, Hosey said, adding that investigators had uncovered written evidence of his discontent with COVID-19 vaccines. He reportedly blamed the vaccine for making him depressed and suicidal. The fact that he's blaming fucking vaccines for his fucking depression is insane, dude. It's like, no, that's not. In what way did the fucking vaccine ruin your life? If anything, it should have been an enhancement to your life because if you get the fucking vaccine, you're able to go out there and be able to participate in society. It's do people broadly speaking understand just how fucking stupid this is? It's so fucking dumb. The Calb County police officer David Rose was fatally shot when he responded to the reports of an active shooter at the CDC precinct shortly after 1700 local time on Friday. Rose, a former Marine who had served in Afghanistan, died in hospital after he was wounded. No employees or civilians were hurt, and rounds fired by police officers did not strike the gunman, Hosey said. Well, that's unlucky. FBI Special Agent in Charge Paul Brown said federal SWAT teams cleared the CDC campus after the shooting to ensure no victims were inside. A nearby daycare was evacuated and the children there were safely reunited with their families. Authorities said the shooter broke into a safe at his family home to access the firearms. Oh, great. So, dumbass decided to fucking steal a bunch of firearms that his fucking family had and decided to do the stupid shooting with it. Fantastic. The weapons belonged to his father and were secured, but White was able force. Well, there's a word missing here. Was able to force his way into the safe. Hosey said the gunman's family has fully cooperated with their investigation. On Monday, U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. visited the CDC's Atlanta campus and met privately with the deceased officer's widow. Oh yeah, it's gonna be a great visit to fucking see this stupid fucking roided out fucking loser going in and being like, well, it's really sad that my fucking schizo conspiracy is the main reason for as to why this deadly shooting fucking happened. I apologize. I feel very bad about. You don't fucking feel bad about any of this, RFK Jr. You know what you're fucking doing, you fucking dumbass, literal fucking charlatan. Kennedy offered his deepest condolences. Sure. And reaffirmed the agency's commitment to honoring Officer Rose's bravery, sacrifice, and service to the nation, HHS said Monday. We are deeply saddened by the tragic shooting at CDC's Atlanta campus that took the life of Officer Rose, Kennedy wrote on Friday. We stand with his wife and 3 children and the entire CDC family. Yeah, dude, and he's the one fucking guy who's doing literally everything possible in order to just make the job of the fucking CDC worse. But, we have some video of some fucking CDC workers, and this is from Democracy Now!, talk about, RFK Jr. should, resign in disgrace for pushing out such a ridiculous amount of COVID misinformation and vaccine fucking misinformation that have led to a deadly shooting like this. Because, again, we've seen this fucking play out before. This is not new. This is not, crazy or wild. This is something that has played out constantly with a lot of these vaccine fucking skeptics.
Control during his rampage last Friday, killing a police officer and terrorizing public health workers who scrambled for shelter as bullets riddled 4 office buildings. The suspect, Patrick Joseph White, was armed with 5 guns, including a rifle. Neighbors said he strongly believed vaccines had hurt him and were hurting other people. On Monday...
Strongly believed. And I'm very, very curious as to why he heard this disinformation, which is why you should vociferously go after RFK Jr. for spreading the amount of misinformation that he fucking has. I'm still curious. Remember how he said in September he's going to find the cure for autism? It's almost September. It's currently August right now, RFK. You've got to get to work, buddy, instead of, canceling a bunch of fucking vaccine contracts because you're a stupid conspiratorial moron who barely understands how mRNA fucking works. Nonsense.
Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. toured the CDC after tweeting he was deeply saddened by the shooting that broke over 100 windows. This comes after Kennedy froze hundreds of millions of dollars of funding for vaccine research and oversaw the layoffs of more than 2,000 CDC workers, including public health experts studying gun violence. On Sunday, current and former CDC workers who gathered for a protest...
By the way, also, a lot of those people were cut because of the Doge cuts that RFK Jr. just decided to go along in order to put in his 3 IQ fucking schizos into place instead. So that's cool.
Atlanta called for RFK Jr. to be replaced. This is infectious disease doctor Elizabeth Soda.
And I am enraged that Robert F. Kennedy Jr., as health secretary, his lies are costing people their lives. His dangerous rhetoric is making Americans sicker. As science-driven...
And not only sicker, but also more dangerous. RFK Jr. is directly fucking responsible with his fucking rhetoric for this fucking shooting. None of the public workers, thankfully, got killed as a result, but a police officer who responded to the fucking call got fucking killed as a result. And the dude who, probably for lack of a better term, looked into God knows how many stupid conspiratorial podcasts and might have even looked into stuff about RFK Jr. himself, might have been a fucking fan of RFK Jr., decided to go on this stupid fucking rampage going after people who only are trying to help people like him. Fucking abhorrent.
Decision making is destroyed, but it is not too late. If ever other Americans join me in my anger to demand RFK Jr.'s resignation, all is not lost.
An influential U.S. medical.
Very cool and very good. I wouldn't surprise me if the dude was a fucking podcast bro fan as well. I don't think there's really much else to say besides, whoa, we are seeing more and more evidence of the fruit being born out, rather, of the sort of like idiotic, like conspiratorial hurricane rabbit holes and being, well, broadly speaking, laid out in your very eyes. A lot of people are suffering and dying not only because of easily treatable fucking diseases, because of like stupid fucking conspiratorial nonsense, because for whatever reason, vaccine skepticism is still a debate within the United States when that shit should have had the kibosh fucking put on it as much as fucking possible. Again, this is where I actually have problems with the US's extremely laissez-faire system on fucking free speech. Some particular debates, like on human rights, global warming, and vaccine skepticism, which are debates that should not be fucking had, are allowed to be had for whatever idiotic, conspiratorial, idiotic fucking reasons. A lot of these debates are allowed because of shit like the First Amendment allowing that speech to be fucking protected. I don't think it's like ridiculous or hyperbolic to say that because of shit like this, a lot of these like conspiratorial freaks putting out so much fucking misinformation and propaganda that people are going to constantly suffer because of this. And RFK Jr. could give less of a fucking shit about any of those people who suffer from stuff like this because he has vested interests as a vaccine skepticist to put out as much fucking propaganda about this as possible, because again, he benefits materially from putting out misinformation like this. Don't think there's really much else to say besides RFK is a fucking crank who now has blood on his hands.